I wasn't an artist, I would have my, oh God, I can't say. So I'm Betty, Alabama. I've got an art studio at Wimbledon Art Studios, Southwest London. Well, I've always done art since, you know, school, college, university. And then a couple of years ago, I decided to take it up seriously again. I have a few styles, but I would definitely describe it. They're always bold, graphic artwork. I would say that would catch your eye. I like something that's quite striking, so when you walk in the room, you know, it captures you. And a lot of my work is quite large scale, so I'd say like at least 30 by 40 inches or bigger. You know, it just suits me. It suits my style working quite large. I like working with lots of different media as well. So my university course was surface pattern design, so that includes like graphics, ceramics, screen printing, you know, every sort of printing really, repeat patterns, gouache, acrylic, so every sort of medium, I guess you could imagine. So I think I incorporate quite a lot of different mediums into my work. You know what, I listen to a lot of music, and I think I am very inspired, like visually. So I mean, like growing up, I'd always look at like, you know, the Alexander McQueen catwalks, and just, I love like Tim Walker photography, and I love like, you know, Bridget Bardot. So I kind of like trying to mix, it's quite difficult to mix it all, but that's why I think it's like a constant experimentation, but like lyrics and just like, especially women are always very sexy. So I think a lot of that inspires my work. Up until now, it's always personal. I think art is always sort of personal. I think it's hard to create art that doesn't mean something to you. But the next project I'm working, and I think it's going to be the sort of my most personal project. I'm going to use a lot of like more words and lyrics that come into my head, and poetry I really love, and just visuals. So it's going to be a bit more free than what I've been doing at the moment. So I think my next project will be a lot more personal, and maybe that'll be hard to let go of. Definitely be like a couple of pieces, especially like my black and white pieces. I love a couple of those. Yeah, you do always have those couple of pieces that you want to keep, I think. But yeah, you know, my favorite is the black and white silhouettes. I don't know, there's something about that I love, like the stripped backness. I mean, yeah, my studio is a bit crazy, but if people walked in my studio, they would think it wasn't organized, but it's actually very organized in my mind. So, I mean, there's different sections. I can kind of show you a little bit. Like this over here, you've got my black, I don't think you mean black and white stuff. Then behind us was that, and then over on this wall here, is the like my ideas for new stuff I'm going to start doing, which is more like this, and then putting it onto big canvases. So those are just little doodles. So in my head, my studio makes sense, but then I mean, I do have like tables and random stuff everywhere. So it makes sense to me. And I do plan, so with the new projects I want to start, I will like doodle sort of, you know, 8 to 10 sketches and plan it. But time-wise, I have started to try and set myself timelines, because otherwise I think you can just, it's very easy to procrastinate when things aren't going right. I think when you're an artist and you just like feel like, oh, I don't want to do any more, but I think it is good to do a timeline. I think it's nice to do a certain feel for a show. Like I wouldn't put, you know, everything I have in my studio in one show. I'd want it to be very specific and a certain project, because I think otherwise it's difficult for people that don't know you to get a sense of who you are if you've got sort of works from, you know, every year you've been doing art from. I think it can be quite difficult. So I think it's good to show who you are at the time when people are coming around the show. Is definitely. I've got 2 sort of like charity art events that I'm holding my work at, and obviously Roy's. So I've got a few things coming up, and then someone offered me a space yesterday for like the end of April to do a show. So there's a few little bits now, I think, that people like, the things are coming up. Hopefully it'll just sort of roll from there and yeah, keep going. And I think it's really important in the art world to just be involved and just, you know, sort of align yourself with as many people as possible. And I think everyone sort of tries to help each other out as well in this industry. Well, you know, and I think it's nice to see the way we work like that. So yeah, hopefully there'll be lots coming up this year. So definitely sort of four things in that pipeline. So my favorite piece of art ever, I was literally meant to collect it this week. So it's called Young and Beautiful, and it's a big black and white piece with ladies on. And basically, I think it was literally about this time last year, a week before, I took it to, there's a place on Harley Street and there's a big art event. And then literally I was going to collect it this week because I was like, look, it's just sitting there, nothing's happening. This art event's never going on. And then obviously this morning they rang me like, we're going to do the art event now. So I'm not collecting it. I'm going to leave it there and hopefully it will sell. You know what? I go through phases, but at the moment it's purple. So I'm really sort of into, I think it's because I've been looking at the sky a lot, like the night sky and all the different purpley blues. So I think that's my favorite at the moment. Definitely for me, Hockney. I love the subjects. I love the colors. Maybe because it's quite graphic as well. Just something really draws me into his paintings. I'll be honest, when I was younger, I didn't get him so much, but now I'm older. That's it. I'd love to wear one of his pieces. Yeah, I love traveling. My favorite place, I mean, there's two places. I love New York as a city. And then this is probably just a bit predictable, but I love Ibiza. So that's like my favorite place. So I've got a few e-vouchers from BA from last year, from Corona, for cancelling my flights. So I'll definitely be back there again as soon as possible. If I wasn't an artist, I would have my, oh God, I can't say. After working in like with fish and restaurants and stuff, I'd love my own restaurant bar. But I also know how hard it is because I have so many friends that do it. So that sort of puts me off a little bit, but I'd love that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I have a couple of favourite galleries for sure. I mean, there's so many, you know what, we're so lucky in London. There's so many good galleries and there's so many, you know, it's really hard to choose one in particular. Like Maddox galleries always have, you know, fun evenings and events, which is great. But actually growing up, this is what got me into art actually. I grew up in Birmingham and there's the Birmingham Art Gallery. And they have all the pre-Raphaelite art. I think they've got the biggest collection in the world. And when you're like this, you know, this high and you're looking at paintings that are absolutely huge, it just like, I was just in awe. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And I think that's what got me into art. So I have to say Birmingham Art Gallery.